Hello everyone, back to today's first video, doing the July 2020 month-ahead forecast for today's first video. So we're going to have a look at the CFSV2, CAN6 and the Beijing Climate Centre long-range model, see what they're showing for July, and then I shall give you the GavsWeatherVids forecast for July 2020. We'll have a little recap on June's forecast at the end of the video. We'll have a quick sneak peek at August as well. So I'll get on that very shortly. Just say that coming up later on today, we're going to have a weekend forecast, as always on a Saturday, got the weekend look ahead, and we'll have a 10 to 14 day video update later on this afternoon as well. Right then, so we are at the UK Met Office climate averages page, and this is how June 2020 temperature anomalies looks for the UK. So it's slightly warmer than average across most parts of the country. The warmest anomaly to average was actually up in the northwest. So there we're around 1.5 degrees above average. Generally elsewhere we're around 1 degree above average. So it's a pretty warm June. Not excessively hot, but it was quite a warmish June set against the 81 to 2010 temperature average. Quite an unsettled June as well. Of course, we have that phenomenally dry May. It's, I think, just about the driest May on record, or the second driest May on record, depending on which data series you take. But it was exceptionally dry in May. June was a lot more unsettled, with generally above average rainfall across many northern and western parts of the country. Particularly so for southwest England. It was a very wet month across southwest England. Some places around 200% of their average rainfall. Also northwestern parts of England. Again, some places around 200% of their average rainfall. And southwest of Scotland too. Wasn't as wet over on the eastern side of the country though. Sort of average rainfall really for much of southeastern England. In fact, some of these far southeast areas were actually a little bit drier than average, around 75% of their total rainfall. Now, the GavsWeatherVids June forecast predicted average temperatures and average precipitation. We thought that there was going to be like a two-way split through months. So the first half month would be relatively cool and rather unsettled, and then the second half month would get a lot warmer and drier. We anticipated if there was going to be a heat wave, it would be in like the final week or so of the month. So we underestimated the temperatures a little bit, and we underestimated the rainfall for this month a little bit. So it's actually quite a warm but wet month, which is quite an unusual combination really in the summer. So we did underestimate that a little bit. We got the broad trends right though, I think. So the first half was the cooler, more unsettled period. The second half was the warmer, drier period. The hottest weather did occur late on in the month. So in that last week or so of the month, that's when the hottest weather was, which is around when we was anticipating it. So I think there's good and bad within the GavsWeatherVids June forecast. Really, it wasn't a total failure, but we didn't get everything correctly right. So out of 10, we give it around a 5 or 6 out of 10. I think we got some things right, but some things weren't quite as good. So that's the June. That's the June forecast, sort of reanalyzed anyway, and that's how June 2020 came out. Right, let's move on to July then. So this is CFSV2 700 millibar height anomaly for July 2020. Go for above average heights, centred pretty much over top of the country. An area of high pressure is over top of the UK. We've got below average heights out to the north and to the northwest to the flow of a jet stream, going something a little bit like that. So yeah, anticyclonic July being forecast by CFSV2, which is a little bit of a surprise because we are currently in quite an unsettled spell of weather. But overall, the CFS is predicting high pressure to be in control for this July. No particular signal for temperature, so CFS predicts that temperature for the UK and Ireland is likely to be near normal. Much of Western and Southwestern Europe are having a warmer than average month, and then northern parts of Europe actually looking a little bit cooler than average. We're sort of in between that warmer and cooler area, around average, I suppose, is the prediction for July temperatures. But I would have thought with high pressure dominating, you know, above average heights right over top of the country, we would probably expect quite a warm month. I would have thought. I can't see why, you know, with that sort of 700 millibar height anomaly and the high pressure more or less over the top of the country, I can't see why in July that would lead to anything other than a warmer than average month, to be honest. So I would, if it came off like that, if we did have high pressure as an anomaly sitting over the top of the country for the month, then I would expect it to be significantly warmer than average, to be honest. The precipitation anomaly is significantly drier than average, which does tie in with that high pressure is in control of the weather. So, yes, significantly drier than average from Ireland and the UK right way over to the eastern side of Europe. Very substantially drier than average for the UK and through many parts of northern Europe as well. So a really dry, high pressure dominated, and I would have thought quite warm July being predicted by the CFSV2. This is how CanSips is looking from TrogloTidbits.com. Don't worry about where the H's and the L's are, just concentrate on the colour. So again, very similar to CFS really with CanSips for July's mean sea level pressure anomaly, with high pressure pretty much over the top of the UK. We have got lower pressure in the Atlantic and also to our north, but it looks like we're close to a ridge there, and you would have again be expecting quite a bit of dry and quite warm weather. Temperature anomalies from CanSips for July are a little bit above average. A slightly warmer than average month is predicted. Many parts of Central Europe and Western Europe also forecast to be warmer than average. And the precipitation anomaly is close to, or possibly hinting at being slightly drier than average, to be honest. And we've got Beijing Climate Centre, so these are 500 millibar heights, and this is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the next 30 days, taking us from the 6th of July through to the 4th of August. And overall, again, quite an anticyclonic sort of signal, really, above average height, centred more or less over the country and away to our east as well. Low pressure is in the Atlantic, jet stream doing something like that. Again, you would expect quite a warm and dry sort of signal for July if that comes off. So there's the temperature anomaly for the next 30 days from the Beijing Climate Centre. Warmer than average, most places around 1 to 2 degrees above average. So yes, that is quite a warm month being predicted. Not excessively hot, but it is significant, quite significant warm July being forecast. And the precipitation anomaly is drier than average too. So yes, drier than average for the UK, drier than average across many western and central parts of Europe, but just a rather warm, dry, anticyclonic sort of 30 days being predicted there from the Beijing Climate Centre. So, I mean, if we take the model output together, it looks as though we should be in for quite a warm, dry month, I have to say. It looks as though high pressure should be in the ascendancy, and it should be plain sailing. But, of course, we have got to take into account and factor in that at the moment we are in quite an unsettled weather pattern. And this unsettled weather pattern looks like it's going to carry on for the next week to 10 days. So that's going to take us light into the middle of the month. So if we only get a sustained build of pressure, it probably won't happen until like the middle of the month onwards. So we do have to factor in that we are starting off on a relatively cool and unsettled note. So this is another one of those very tricky forecasts. We have had a lot of these over the past few months. None of the month-end forecasts lately have been straightforward. There's always been a lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainty going on. I've got another one of those to deal with this month. But tentatively, I'm going to sort of say we're going to get an increasing trend towards higher pressure as the month goes on. That's what I've always expected since I did the summer forecast. And, it's do or die time, really, with this. So I'm going to stick with summer forecast. I'm going to say that as July progresses, we will see an increasing trend towards high pressure ridging from the Azores, sending us warmer and drier. And so, although we're starting off quite cool and unsettled at the moment, in the end, I would forecast like a rather warmer than average month and a rather drier than average month as well, with an increasing trend towards higher pressure, hottest weather, similar to June, probably taking place later on in the month. The further on into the month we go, the greater the chance that we start generating heat waves and proper hot weather. So I'm just sticking with the summer forecast, really. And if this is wrong, then the summer forecast will be wrong as well, because we've got to get this transition to high pressure and warmer, drier weather through this July. I always expected June to be mixed and that probably to go on to early July as well. But by mid-July, if the summer forecast is going to be right, by mid-July we've got to see high pressure beginning to take over and take us through the second half of the summer, so through late July and into August. If we follow what happened in 1990, which was a very close analogue for our summer forecast, then we can expect things to get very hot later on in July. That's not what I'm saying is going to happen, but if we was to follow 1990, then later on in July, things will get very hot. But I would expect we will see a more sort of toned down version of 1990, probably. If that continues to be a close match. So I'm just looking for a transition to higher pressure as the month goes along, warmer, dry conditions. And so overall, the GavsWeatherVids July forecast is forecasting slightly above average temperatures, probably around a degree above average, and also slightly drier than average, albeit we start off rather cool and unsettled. The warmest, hottest weather is likely to be later on in the month. And if this transition to higher pressure does not come off, then the summer forecast is down the tubes as well. So this month really is do or die for the summer forecast, and we shall see how it goes. Finally, just have a little sneak peek at August. So this is how the CFSB2 700 millibar height anomaly for August is looking. And this looks a bit unsettled, so it's going for below average heights around Iceland. Why is there not much else to go on, but probably bringing westerlies from off the Atlantic. So obviously that will be a rather Atlantic-driven and slightly unsettled month. We shall see about that. It's too far away to worry about August. We've got enough going on with July. So in the final analysis, GavsWeatherVids.com July 2020 month-ahead forecast is sticking with the summer forecast. It is do or die time. We're expecting a cool and unsettled start to this month, and probably up to around the middle part of the month. But then from mid-month onwards, we're waiting to see a transition to higher pressure, bringing warmer, drier weather. And overall, we come out slightly warmer than average and also slightly drier than average. If this does not come off, if we have an unsettled, Atlantic-driven and cool month, then obviously the summer forecast is well and truly down the pan. So we shall see how it all progresses, and we'll review all of this in at the start of August when we do the August 2020 month-ahead forecast. Coming later on today, we're going to have the week-ahead forecast, and we'll also have your 10 to 14 day update as well. So come back for all of the updates. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.